doubt from scientific perspective whether we're causing it or not. So I guess I should end at that point.
All right. Thanks very much for the call.
Bob, I appreciate your points. And, one of the things that has affected me is I saw how legislation in Washington can affect a local economy. I come from Taylorville, where Kincaid, Illinois, a small town 7 miles outside of Taylorville, our largest employer in our community, Peabody Mine Number 10, closed down. It closed down in the early 90s because of new rules and regulations put forth by the Clean Air Act, where it became more cost-effective to ship coal in from the western United States via train. And I would argue that we need to count the emissions from the train and the coal being shipped in. It became more cost-effective for the power plant that was across the street from the coal mine to ship that coal in rather than having it dug out from underground, put on a conveyor belt, shipped across the street to burn, all because government said so. I want to take into account cost-benefit analyses and ensure that we continue to reduce emissions in this country like we have. And we do not put American jobs and the American economy at risk, while other nations don't even come close to following any global emission standards that people like to talk about, but unfortunately they don't follow.
It seems like this is a good example of something that I imagine a lot of Congress people have to deal with, which is balancing two basic conceptual good ideas. One is we want to spur economic development, and the other one in this case is we want to reduce emissions, and sometimes they are in conflict. How do you address that as a congressman, as an elected official? How would you address those moments where you might have constituents on either side of that debate, both well-meaning, both with stats on their side? What do you do to say, okay, I understand where you're coming from, but this is the direction I think we should go, and here's why? How do you get to that point?
Well, that's your job. I mean, you're always, every single issue is going to have constituents on both sides. And you go out and you explain the reason why you voted a certain way. And you have to be able to justify every single vote that's cast and tell any individual in this district why you casted your vote that way. But it's no different, really, than any other issue that you deal with in Congress. You've got to find that common ground. And I'm somebody who has worked countless times with Democrats and Republicans to push things forward, to push issues forward. And that's the type of leadership that I think I'm going to bring, is to be able to go in and work with Democrats and Republicans, just like Tim Johnson has, in the vein of Ray LaHood in the past, and be able to find that common ground, that compromise that's going to work and make that real substantive change in Washington that's going to affect this nation positively.
We have just a couple of minutes left. I want to get in at least one more call. Iris is in Champaign. Iris, go ahead.
Hi. I want to do a follow-up question, the question on Roe v. Wade. Two things. I think I understood you to say that you would support abortion in the case of rape, incest, or death of the mother. Does that mean you do not include health of the mother? And secondly, I would like a very definitive answer on whether, if a bill comes up or there is any kind of movement to work to erase Roe v. Wade, will you vote for it or against it? I would like a real definitive answer on that, please. Okay,
thanks for the call.
Well, life, health of the mother is an exception. Death, yes.
So if the mother's health is at risk, then...
yeah, that's a family decision that fits into those exceptions.
And if a vote were to come before Congress to overturn Roe v. Wade, if there was any effort afoot, you would vote to do so or not to do so?
Well, just like you're going to have to see the bill. I mean, my philosophy is that I'm pro-life, and I'm proudly pro-life. So I would be in favor of legislation to ensure that abortion is not used as a birth control method.
Okay. Oh, gosh, we're running short on time. Tell us one thing about you that you feel like voters should know about you that they don't.
That I'm a normal guy. I'm somebody that grew up in Taylorville, somebody that has the values of this district at heart, and I want to take those values of this district to Washington, D.C., and truly make a difference. I believe that my experience is going to allow me to hit the ground running and not just be somebody who's going to cast votes the right way, but somebody who's going to go out and work in a bipartisan way to make sure that we make a real difference in this country. Some of the local officials and mayors in this district that are supporting my candidacy are Democrats. They're Democrats not because I walked in and asked them whether or not they were Democrats. I walked in and asked them, how can we work together to help? And they've seen me in action, and they're supporting me because we've worked together to make some real changes in their communities. That's the type of leadership I bring. It's not a Republican leadership. It's not a Democrat leadership. It's a common sense type of leadership that I think Champaign is used to and Champaign-Urbana needs to continue, which is why I hope I can earn your vote on November 6th.
Rodney Davis is the Republican running for Congress seeking to represent Illinois' 13th Congressional District. He faces Democrat David Gill and Independent John Hartman in next month's election. Mr. Davis, thanks for being with us today.
Craig, thank you.
We've now heard from all three 13th District congressional candidates on this program. I encourage you to listen back to these shows at will.illinois.edu/focus. We will also offer some detailed comparison contrast on our website in the coming days, and I'll share more details about that in the coming days as well, so stay tuned. Remember that all three candidates will also participate in a 13th District congressional debate on November 1st at 7 p.m. right here at WILL. It's hosted by Illinois Public Media in collaboration with the League of Women Voters of Illinois and WCIA. WILL-TV, WILL AM 580, and WCIX-TV will broadcast the hour-long debate live with live video streaming on will.illinois.edu, and a number of other public television and commercial television radio stations throughout the state will broadcast the debate as well. Again, that's November 1st at 7 p.m., moderated by WILL's Jim Meadows. Today's show was produced by Travis Stanzel. Kyle Mabry's our technical director. He handled your calls. I'm Craig Cohen. 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 Craig Cohen.